It's one of the black boys from our ward, and he's got Harding's wife with him. They're talking and grinning to each other as they come into the library.
See here, Dale, the black boy calls over to Harding where he's reading a book. Look here who come to visit you. I told her it wasn't visiting hours, but you know she just sweet-talked me into bringing her right on in here anyhow. He leaves the standing felt Harding and goes off, saying seriously, don't you forget now you hear.
She blows the black boy a kiss, then turns to Harding, swinging her hips forward.
Hello, Dale.
Honey, he says, but doesn't make any move to take a couple of steps towards her. He looks around him at everybody watching.
She's as tall as he is. She's got on high-heeled shoes and is carrying a black purse. Not by the strap, but holding it the way you hold a book. Her fingernails are red as drops of blood against the shiny black patent leather purse.
Hey, Mac, Harding calls to McMurphy, who's sitting across the room looking at a book of cartoons. If you'll curtail your literary pursuits a moment, I'll introduce you to my counterpart and nemesis. I would be trite and say to my better half, but I think that phrase indicates some kind of basically equal division, don't you? He tries to laugh. Ha ha. And his two slim ivory fingers dip into his shirt pocket for cigarettes, fidget around, getting the last one from the package. The cigarette shakes as he places it between his lips. He and his wife haven't moved towards each other yet.
McMurphy heaves out of his chair and pulls his cap off as he walks over.
Harding's wife looks at him and smiles, lifting one of her eyebrows.
Afternoon, Miss Harding.
She smiles back even bigger and says, I hate Mrs. Harding, Mac. Why don't you call me Vera?
They all three sit back down on the couch where Harding was sitting, and he tells his wife about McMurphy and how McMurphy got the best of the big nurse.
And she smiles back and says that it doesn't surprise her a bit.
While Harding's telling the story, he gets enthusiastic and forgets about his hands, and they weave in the air in front of him into a picture clear enough to see, dancing the story to the tune of his voice, like two beautiful ballet women in white. His hands can be anything, but as soon as the story's finished, he notices McMurphy and his wife are staring at his hands. He traps them in between his knees and laughs about this.
And his wife says to him, Dale, when are you going to learn to laugh instead of making that mousy little squeak?
It's the same thing that McMurphy said about Harding's laugh on the first day, but it's different somehow. Where McMurphy was saying it calmed Harding down, her saying it makes him more nervous than ever.
She asks for a cigarette.
And Harding dips his finger into his pocket again, and it's empty. We've been rationed, he says, folding his thin shoulders forward like he was trying to hide a half-smoked cigarette he was holding, to one pack a day. That doesn't seem to leave any man any margin for chivalry. Vera, my dearest.
Oh, Dale, you never have enough, do you?
His eyes take on that sly, feverish skittishness as he looks at her and smiles. Are we speaking symbolically, or are we still dealing with the concrete here and now cigarettes? No matter, you know the answer to the question, whichever way you intended it.
I didn't intend nothing but by it except what I said, Dale.
You didn't intend anything by it, sweetest. Your use of didn't and nothing constitutes a double negative. McMurphy, Vera's English rivals yours for illiteracy. Look, honey, you understand that between no and any, there is...
All right, that's enough. I meant it both ways. I meant it any way you wanted to take it. I meant it you don't have enough of nothing, period.
Enough of anything, my bright little child.
She glares at Harding for a second, then turns to McMurphy, sitting beside her. You, Mac, what about you? Can you handle a simple little thing like offering a girl a cigarette?
His package is already lying in his lap. He looks down at it like he wishes it wasn't, then says, Sure, I always got cigarettes. Reason is, I'm a bum. I bum them whenever I get the chance, is why my pack lasts longer than Harding's here. He smokes only his own. So you can see why he's more likely to run out then.
You don't have to apologize for my inadequacies, my friend. It neither fits your character nor compliments mine.
No, it doesn't, the girl says. All you have to do is light my cigarette. And she leans so far forward to his mask that even clear across the room.
I could see down her blouse.
Talks some more about some of Harding's friends who she wishes would quit dropping around the house looking for him. You know the type, don't you, Mac? She says, and the hoity-toity boys with the nice long hair combed so perfectly and little wrists that flip so nice.
Harding asks her if it was only him they were dropping by to see.
And she says that any man drops around to see her And she says, any man that drops around to see her flips more than just his damned limp wrists. She stands suddenly and says it's time for her to go. She takes Murphy's hand and tells him she hopes to see him again sometime soon and walks out of the library.
McMurphy can't say a word. At the clack of her high heels, everybody's head comes up again, and they watch her walk down the hall until she turns out of sight.
What do you think, Harding says?
McMurphy starts. She's got one hell of a set of jabobs, is all I can say. Big as old lady ratchets.
I didn't mean physically, my friend. I mean, what do you...
Hell's bells, Harding, McMurphy yells suddenly. I don't know what to think. What do you want out of me, a marriage counselor? All I know is this. Nobody's very big in the first place, and it looks like everybody spends their whole life tearing everybody else down. I know what you want me to think. You want me to feel sorry for you, to think she's a real bitch. Well, you didn't make her feel like any queen either. Well, screw you and your what do you think. I've got worries of my own without getting hooked with yours, so just quit. He glows around at everybody, around the library at the other patients. All of you, quit bugging me, goddammit. And he sticks his cap back on his head and walks back to his cartoon magazines across the room.
All the cutes are looking at each other with their mouths open. What's he hollering at them about? Nobody's been bugging him. Nobody's asked him for a thing since they found out that he was trying to behave to keep his commitment from being extended. Now they're surprised at the way he just blew up at Harding and can't figure the way he grabs the book up from the chair and sits down holding it close in front of his face, either to keep people from looking at him or to keep from having to look at people.
That night at supper, he apologized to Harding and says he doesn't know what hung him up so at the library.
Harding says perhaps it was his wife. She frequently hangs people up.
McMurphy sits staring into his coffee and says, I don't know, man. I just met her this afternoon, so she sure the hell isn't the one giving me bad dreams this last miserable week.
Why, Mr. McMurphy, Harding cries, trying to talk like the little resident boy who comes to the meeting. You simply must tell me about these dreams. Oh, wait until I get my pencil and pad. Harding's trying to be funny to relieve the strain of the apology. He picks up a napkin and spoon and acts like he's going to take notes. Now, precisely, what was it you saw in these dreams?
McMurphy don't crack a smile. I don't know, man. Nothing but faces, I guess. Just faces.
The next morning, Martini is behind the control like he's a jet pilot. The poker game stops to grin at his act. Ground to air. Object sighted 1600 appears to be enemy missile. Proceed at once. Spins a dial, shoves a lever forward, and leans like the bank of the ship. He cranks a needle on full at the side of the panel. The no water comes out of the nozzle, set around the square like the booth in front of him.
They don't use hydrotherapy anymore, and nobody's turned the water on. Brand new chrome equipment and steel panel never been used. Except for the chrome panel and the shower just look like hydrotherapy outfits they used at the old hospital 15 years ago. Nozzles capable of reaching parts of the body from every angle. A technician in a rubber apron is standing on the other side of the room manipulating the controls on the panel, dictating which nozzle squirts where, how hard, how hot, sprayed open soft and soothing, then squeezed sharp as a needle. You hung up there between the nozzles in canvas straps soaked and limp and wrinkled while the technician enjoyed his toy.